Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Andrea Hay. We start tonight with some active weather and storms that could be moving in tonight, and tomorrow will be a weather aware day. Let's get right to Storm Center 2 meteorologist David Ernst with what to expect.
Yeah, the threat for severe weather tonight has diminished, but we still have the potential for some localized flooding in northern Wisconsin and into the UP, and still some storms ongoing in the southwestern corner of the state, as seen right there on Storm Center 2 Viper. The heaviest rain in northeast Wisconsin right now is coming down across parts of Forest and Florence counties, and this will slowly track into the UP of Michigan. Also, a few rain showers here well to the west of Rhinelander. In southern Wisconsin, thunderstorms ongoing right now, but all of this activity is well south of Fond du Lac and should continue pushing towards the south. That's where the most significant lightning is right now, and the thunderstorm threat in terms of where you actually would hear that thunder is going to be moving across parts of southern Wisconsin, but we could still see some rain showers tracking through the rest of the state with time overnight tonight. It's pretty obvious looking at the temperature map as to where we've seen the rain-cooled air push through. Now, even though you haven't seen much in the way of rainfall around Oshkosh or Appleton, you've at least had the thunderstorm outflow roll through, and that's why you're in the 70s right now, but still lower and middle 80s around Green Bay and up towards Marinette, and still feeling like 91 in Oconto, 92 degrees for a heat index in Marinette. Just very warm, sticky air. For the rest of tonight, severe weather threat is low as any rain and storms will come to an end, but more storms firing up tomorrow. It is a weather aware day. We'll take you through the day hour by hour with Storm Center 2 Pinpoint Predictor coming up.
All right, thanks, David. Well, it was a sound that neighbors heard and felt for miles. The sound of a house exploding on the Oneida Reservation. It happened around 7:30 this morning on the 1500 block of Ray Road in Outagamie County. That explosion left one person dead and another severely injured. Katie Anderson continues our coverage, hearing from the neighbor who was the first to respond.
Yeah.
It was just a regular Saturday morning for Steve Gunnering until
All of a sudden I just heard a loud explosion.
he couldn't see what exploded, but he saw something else.
I looked out the window and all I seen was just debris. There was no smoke or nothing, just debris coming up over the trees.
He sprang into action.
I just grabbed my phone, I jumped in my truck, and I was gone. I dialed 911 immediately, and when I got there I noticed movement in the ditch, and there was the guy was there, the homeowner.
Gunnering and neighbors ran out the door, alarmed by what had happened. The man who owned the home was thrown from the house by the explosion. He was injured and burned, but alive. They helped him out of the ditch while they waited for an ambulance.
I mean, it was just terrible. He was burned, and he was in pretty rough shape. But for him to come out of that is just amazing.
He was transported to St. Vincent's Hospital by Eagle 3.
A woman who lived in the home was found dead among the debris. Oneida police are treating the explosion as a criminal investigation.
One of the things that we are doing is we're treating this as a criminal investigation until the facts and the circumstances surface as otherwise.
A third person who lived in the home wasn't there when the explosion happened. The neighborhood is sad about the loss of the woman, but is pulling for the man they helped in the hospital.
I just hope and pray everything goes good for him. I mean, it's just an experience that, no one should go through.
In Oneida, Katie Anderson, Action 2 News.
Hundreds of people in Green Bay and many more across Wisconsin and the nation marched today calling for children of illegal immigrants to be reunited with their families. This issue started when the Trump administration began enforcing zero-tolerance policy on immigration, which separated children from their parents when detained at the border. In the last 2 months since, more than 2,500 children were separated. President Trump later signed an executive order aimed at keeping immigrant families together. However, only around 500 children have been reunited with their families, and more than 2,000 are still waiting to be reunited. Continuing our coverage tonight, Sharon Bajenda shows us how people in Green Bay rallied to keep families together.
Hundreds of protesters marched at Green Bay City Deck Saturday to support immigrant families, many separated at the border while trying to seek asylum. Protesters say those families came from countries riddled with crime and violence.
Conditions that are just deplorable, coming here, asking for asylum and being ripped apart, children away from their mothers and fathers. That is just wrong and is not what this country has ever stood for.
We're here to support them. We're here to show them that there are people here in this community that care about them and that welcome them into this country, because refugees are welcome here.
Peguero Almonte immigrated from the Dominican Republic, finding success in Green Bay and now working on a master's degree. She says it feels great to see the community's support.
This is great because me as a DACA recipient, I thought I was alone, but when I see this many people in my community, I'm like, they support me. This is my problem, and these people accept me as who I am, as a human, and they don't try to dehumanize me.
When we say the pledge, we say liberty and justice for all. It's not for some, it's for all. It is for children and families, and I'm here to say that everybody's part of my neighborhood.
Are you ready?
Protesters are upset by the president, saying they can't imagine being apart from their families because family taught them everything.
I wouldn't be who I am today. I would just be a lost individual because she helped raise me and taught me morals and how to speak, and everything that I am is from my mom. So to imagine any child being taken from them, it's just really damaging in any way.
Just the very fact that he could be so heartless as to put children in cages like animals. We would not treat a pet that way, and he will take children away from their mothers and fathers and do it. Just breaks my heart.
Even with the administration working to reunite families, Green Bay's protesters won't back down.
On a day when we have heat warnings, when we are told to stay inside, we all made a decision that this issue was more important, and we are here because we care that much.
Without our diversity, we're just cookie cutters, and even teachers know we don't cookie cutter each other. We embrace our differences. We need our differences. We need each other.
This executive order that Trump signed to bring them, it's like he's basically cleaning up his own mess that he made. So whatever is happening right now is not working, and we need to show them that we're not in agreement with what's happening right now.
In Green Bay, Sharon Bajenda, Action 2 News.
A dozen other rallies also took place across the Badger State today. Eau Claire, Appleton, Madison, and Milwaukee were just some of the locations. Speakers urged the crowds to vote in every election and contact their local representatives about fighting to reunite families. Meanwhile, hundreds more marches happened across the country today. In New York City, demonstrators marched across the Brooklyn Bridge, while others protested right in front of the Trump Tower. In Washington, D.C., a rally featuring multiple celebrities and immigrant rights activists protested outside the White House and marched on the Department of Justice.
ICE wants to take away my mom from me. I don't like to live with this fear. It's scary. I can't sleep. I can't study. I am stressed. I am afraid that they will take my mom away while she is at work, out driving, or at home.
President Trump tweeted his support for immigration and customs enforcement this morning. The agency has come under fire for their part in treatment of immigrant families. The president says ICE is one of the toughest law enforcement agencies he has seen, and people are working for the agency and doing a fantastic job. He also said Democrats want to shut down the agency, but it'll never happen. Counter protests were also held around the country today, including this one in San Antonio.
Know that there's lots of anti-ICE, anti-Trump rallies that are going on today around the country. And we decided we would hold one to support the president and to support the idea of border security. We believe very strongly that unless there's border security, there is no nation.
So where does the issue go from here? Well, earlier this week, a federal judge made a series of deadlines government officials must meet. By next Friday, all parents must have a way to contact their child. Children 5 and under must be reunited with their parents by July 10th. All children must be brought back to their parents by July 26th. It has been a bombshell.
I was just worried. I had 3 kids, my 2 kids and a friend, so I'm like, get in the bathroom, get in the bathroom. So I just yelled at them to get in the bathroom so they were okay and away from a window.
Well, these are just some of the storm photos sent to us by you, our viewers, after today's round of storms. Good evening. Thanks so much for being with us tonight. I'm Andrea Hay. Skyview 2 giving us a bird's eye view of some of the storm's aftermath this afternoon. Much of the worst damage hitting the area of Crooked Lake in Oconto County. That's about 20 miles west of Crivets. In our top story, Katie Anderson spoke to witnesses terrified by the experience and left picking up the pieces.
It was just raining, and then it came like downpoured, and then all of a sudden it like this, and everything went curly. Her chair went flying over, and then the trees went down.
I was looking out our window, and it was swirling, and it was was going every which way.
It was a scary few minutes for people in Crooked Lake Sunday afternoon as one of the strongest storms of the day went through the area.
Well, we were in the camper, and one of the windows just broke open in the camper, and then my friend had called me and said, your car, and I looked outside and there was a tree that fell right on my car.
Sarah Thompson's house suffered significant damage.
So we ran into the basement, and all we could hear was a bunch of crashing and everything. And then when we came out later, we had 4 tree trunk branches through the roof of the back of the house, broke the truss of the house.
There were no reports of injuries, but the damage to Thompson's home is still being assessed.
Probably 3 out of the 5 rooms are just, there's nothing. I mean, there's something there, but it's all water damage.
Here on County Highway W, which runs right through Crooked Lake, a portion of the highway was shut down as crews cleaned up downed trees and power lines.
Problem that you have right away is the crews can't get to different locations, so we have to start right close to the fire station and work our way to at least get a path through the roads open.
Everyone in the community pitched in to help clean up.
Crooked Lake is such a good community that everybody just came and started helping and cutting things up.
In Crooked Lake, Katie Anderson, Action 2 News.
With a wild weekend of weather, everyone's wondering what's up for the start of the work week as many are already beginning their July 4th holiday. Let's get right to Storm Center 2 meteorologist David Ernst tracking it all for us this evening.
Yeah, the good news is you can expect quiet weather leading into the 4th of July, but might have some storms to deal with on Independence Day and the day after. It was a rather active afternoon across the area. Storm reports, the wind damage reports anyway. We had 2 more serious storms that produced most of the damage reported across the area. The earliest one causing the wind damage through Menominee County and then right through Crooked Lake and northern central parts of Oconto County that you just saw. We also had a secondary storm come through a little later that moved through Outagamie and up towards Green Bay, and that also produced some damage around Appleton, Seymour, and then on the west side of Green Bay as well. But right now, all is quiet, nothing to show you on Storm Center 2 Viper, and it will stay that way through the rest of the night. Here's where those storms were 6 hours ago, just about to exit the area and push over Lake Michigan, continuing to move over Michigan with skies clearing out across the rest of northeastern Wisconsin. Temperatures have already started to dip into the 60s across the far north. Still low 70s around Green Bay and the Fox Cities. Might have a little patchy fog out there tomorrow morning. A cooler start to the morning, but still warm in the afternoon. Highs mid-80s. We'll talk more about your weather leading into Independence Day coming up.
All right, thanks, David. And if you were not affected by the storms this weekend, you surely felt that heat most of us are working to fight against as the temperatures continue to stay high into the 4th of July holiday. Doctors tell Sharon Bajenda about the warning signs of heat stroke as people try to find new ways to stay cool.
People are splashing on City Deck and staying in the shade to enjoy the outdoors while trying to keep cool.
It's been a cooker with the heat coming through, but it's definitely nice being able to get out where it's a little cooler, and the City Deck has the fountains there, so it's great.
We wanted to come somewhere cool with the splash pad for him, picked up some food, and it's perfect because this is actually in the shade, so.
Yep, it's turning out well. It's pretty hot out here, so it's nice to be able to cool down and let them run around too.
But the heat continues this week for the 4th of July. And with temperatures near the 90s, doctors want people to know the symptoms of heat stroke.
And that's when your body core temperature hits about 104 degrees. You can see people that get confused, maybe not acting themselves bizarrely. The heart rate goes up, the respiratory rate goes up, they may get nauseous, have a really bad headache. Those are all symptoms that you're probably suffering from heat stroke.
If you're experiencing symptoms of heat-related sicknesses, be sure to move to a place with air conditioning immediately. Drink water, you can mist yourself and fan yourself, or keep a cool washcloth on your neck and your head. If symptoms do get worse, be sure to go to the emergency room or dial 911.
Doctors say you can prevent heat stroke by wearing loose clothing, staying out of the heat, and drinking plenty of fluids. But be careful which fluids you're putting in.
You know, alcohol specifically will cause you to lose more fluid, right? And in combination with, again, medications that a lot of people are on, that decreases your ability to deal with, for your body to deal with the heat.
In Green Bay, Sharon Bajenda, Action 2 News.
An update tonight about the deadly home explosion we first reported yesterday from Oneida. We told you about a man who was fighting for his life after being thrown from the home, badly burned. Oneida police say he died of his injuries this morning. His identity is Adam Alan Weisler, the 65-year-old homeowner. Oneida police are also releasing the identity of the woman found dead among the rubble immediately following the home explosion. She was 27-year-old Emily Tank. The cause of that explosion is still under investigation. Officials early on believed it could have been related to a propane tank. President Trump is not planning to ask his Supreme Court justice nominee about